Hello and welcome. We're back. I guess I'll call this a emergency podcast, Justin. So yeah, we're back. President's Cup. Captain's picks were released a couple hours ago. We're recording this Tuesday, September 3rd at 6:08 Eastern Standard Time. I wanted to have my brother Justin on, who's a recurring guest. Would say he's a part of the brand by now. Just to kind of go over these captains' decisions. Jim Furyk, captain of Team USA, Mike Weir, captain of the Team International, both had to pick 6 players on top of the 6 automatic qualifiers. So the President's Cup, if you don't already know, happens in a couple weeks at the end of September in Royal Montreal. Kind of what's different about it is that the President's Cup is Thursday, Friday, so they do 5 matches on Thursday, 5 on Friday, and then they do morning, afternoon wave with 4 and 4, then Sunday singles. So very similar to the Ryder Cup. The I think Team USA is 12-1-1, I believe, in these. So it's been Team USA to dominate, but kind of the meat of this podcast will be kind of going over what these captains picks, kind of what our analysis is for them. So, Justin, I know you were working today, not on your phone much, but kind of what are your kind of opening thoughts on either what Jim Furyk did, which I think will probably be the heart of this podcast, or even what Mike Weir did with his captain selections?
Yeah, so I think we can start with the international side and kind of work our way through what Furyk chose for the Americans. For the internationals, I believe you said it as well to me before the podcast, but I believe that Weir chose the top 12 in the President's Cup standings. So that was pretty interesting. I kind of knew that he would lean heavy on the Canadians as well. Like, we all know that like Weir's like pretty close, like all of those Canadians on tour. I didn't think it would be Mackenzie Hughes taking a spot over like Cam Davis or something. I maybe thought it would be Hadwin instead, but I'm not really surprised overall about the team. I feel like it was pretty chalk, and I think he just wanted to get as many Canadians on the team as possible.
Yeah, Mac Hughes. Actually, let's just go into the Team USA, because I think that's, as I said, like the meat of it. I think I want to talk about. I think there's a debate between JT and Homa. That is the kind of the main storylines, but I kind of wanted to go through the decisions that Jim Furyk made. He took the conservative route, as you said. He took just the top 12 guys in the standings, despite some players not being in form, like Brian Harman and Max Homa being the top 2 guys. But we saw this happen in 2018. He was the Ryder Cup captain in France. He went with a very similar approach. He took the top 11 guys, and he took Tony Finau, who was 15th, over a young Xander Schauffele, who was a 12th in the thing. So you can kind of tell that he favors more veterans, or even in age older guys than a young guy, like taking a Akshay Bhatia, Cam Young, or even like a Nick Dunlap, who has won twice this year. It turned out to be a disaster in 2018. I mean, he took Bryson and Phil. He also took Tiger too, but they didn't fit that course in France. They didn't fit Le Golf National, which was the course for the Olympics. So he took the similar route again, did chalk top 12. I mean, it's funny because last year the whole conversation was JT shouldn't make this team, but he probably will. And now is that everyone's like, JT shouldn't make this team. So it's very interesting to see kind of how the tables have turned. I was definitely a supporter for JT, not because of JT's play. I don't think he deserved to make the team last year, Obviously he didn't play great. He didn't make the FedEx Cup playoffs, but no one really stepped up to
Right.
really go out and get it. We saw Burns play really well down the stretch. Keegan Bradley won like the BMW. Finau had really turned it around in like the second half. And Russell Henley is that like consistent, doesn't make any mistakes. He's a top 5 player in these majors based on strokes gained. So, I think he took a very conservative approach. I didn't like it. I thought he should have taken JT over Homa. I would have taken Billy Horschel over Brian Harman. But I guess because they're in the top 12, or Harman and Homa were by far the best 2 players for like the Ryder Cup, they're probably going to be paired together. Not sure what the data thinks about that, but I think kind of the number one storyline, if you're kind of go like in this like storyline mode, is that Furyk did the same approach like he did in 2018. Obviously, a Ryder Cup away, Ryder Cup, and just a Ryder Cup in general is a lot different than the President's Cup based on how much it means and the pressure and magnitude. But I think that's really like the top storyline. Do you kind of agree with that?
Yeah.
Take?
I feel like I understand Homa a little more than you, I think. Even though I also don't agree with it, I can understand the logic behind like he played well in match play in the Ryder Cup and like the big moments as well. And I feel like he obviously hasn't been playing well. Like he's not in good form. Like he has not been playing well probably even since the Masters. So, but I feel like everyone says match play is a different beast as well. And I can understand it from that side. I also understand Harman. I agree with you. I also wouldn't have taken Harman. I definitely would have taken JT, and then I feel like between Horschel and Akshay, I'd say that's pretty much a toss-up. But yeah, I'm kind of reiterating everything that you said, but I don't know why to
Well,
blame Furyk though.
the thing is that you you say Homa has a good match play record. I mean, JT has the
Right.
best match play
Uh huh.
record. Who's in better form. I'm looking at Homa's stats right now. Homa hasn't gained strokes off the tee since the Masters, and he
Yeah.
hasn't gained strokes
That's
ball
bad.
striking since the Memorial.
Yeah.
So his irons aren't there. His driver isn't there. This course, when I was breaking it down, posting my thread, is that it's a short course, tight fairways. They're probably going to make the rough thicker. That's what they do against our team. And his putter has been inconsistent. He's gained strokes with the putter once, and that was at the Open Championship. And then since that, it was the PGA Championship. So he can't putt. He's not hitting it well. And if you're spraying it off the tee, so like he might not even be playable in like the foursome kind of market. He's not have to play four ball. So I love Max Homa. That's really no secret. This is nothing against him personally, but I'm looking at his stats right now, and nothing shows any signs of having any confidence in him in this. I do get the Harmon pick. What I just went over. He's very straight. He's not long. Consistent iron player, consistent wedge player, and he has the ability to pop off with the putter. And they took some good putters. Harmon is a great putter. Burns is a great putter. Henley's a great putter. Keegan and Finau can spike with it. Homa historically is a good putter. Not right now. So I do get the Harmon pick. I think the Homa pick was really bad. I hope I hope Homa plays well. But it's funny because Furyk, like you said, Furyk was like, Homa, he kind of explained the Homa pick like a JT pick last year. It was like, he's so good in like the team room, played well last year at like the Ryder Cup. So if you're debating Homa and JT, JT's playing better. I don't know why you don't take him. But because Homa's 12th in like the standings, which, that's why he took him. I think that's the one that everyone on Twitter as we said, um, is kind of, very frustrated about. Um, I guess to ask you, like, of the 6 captains picked, which one do you think is like primed to break out over others?
Um, yeah, I mean, I feel like we're both pretty big Russell Henley supporters, and I feel like we've also been on that train for a little bit before he got pretty hot in this past season, especially as you said, like top 5 strokes gained in all 4 of the majors combined. So I would say Henley is the most primed to break out. I definitely am encouraged about Burns, and he's obviously going to play with Scheffler. And I feel like we should also get into like potential pairings and like what format like each guy should be like favored to play in. So I definitely say Henley, and I'm definitely encouraged by Burns's play in like the FedEx Cup. Like he definitely had a pretty good last couple weeks. So I'd say
Yeah.
those 2.
Um, I'm looking at Data Golf. So for those that know, Data Golf is like a all golf statistics site. They do great work. They have their own they have their own rank
Yeah.
that is compared to like the FedEx Cup standings and the OWGR, which honestly I think people take more weight into the Data Golf rankings than anything. Russell Henley is 7 in the standings, and do you want to
That's crazy.
guess where Max Homa is? Guess where Max
So
Homa is.
so this is everyone. Like, is this
Yes, every player.
live as well?
Live. Yes,
Okay,
this is the
so
Data
I'd
Golf rankings of
say
every golfer.
like 40.
He's 86.
Really,
Matt
that's
Kuchar
crazy.
is 85th.
Okay, I mean, like, I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I agree with that one, but
I mean, people.
like,
Henley has been
yeah,
a Data Golf darling for like the last two
right.
years, and he
Mm-hmm.
had a really good year. I mean,
Yes.
are you taking Henley over Fleetwood, Oberg, Cantlay, Burns, Bryson? I mean, Bryson's 13, so Sungjae, Hovland, probably not. But the but if you also
Um,
go back to the data, the Europeans do this data approach. Both teams do it, but we sometimes go away from it. We use it, but don't
right.
fully commit to it. So if you have the data approach, obviously Homa isn't um,
Yeah.
one of the picks, I guess, if you go by data golf rankings. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I think as you said it, Burns will be paired with Sky Scheffler. They didn't play that great
Yeah.
together in the Presidents Cup.
To
There's,
not.
I think, a par
Mm-hmm.
3 that they went over a couple weeks ago on the broadcast that like Scheffler shanked. It was like Scheffler's like worst shot ever. Like, he completely shanked a shot on a par 3, and Burns had to get up and down for it. But you know, Burns carried Scotty in that Presidents Cup.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Sky didn't really play great at like the Ryder Cup. Burns played decently well. And I remember he went up against Rory. Um, and he made some putts, got like the crowd all like fired up. But I think Burns is someone that I think can also break out too. I think Burns and Henley are like those 2 guys that they're good like wedge players, and they can spike with the putter, which I think is going to be the formula this week. So yeah, I think just overall, I hope I kind of wish JT got it. I think another storyline that was very interesting. I don't know who asked in the Golf Channel interview, but Jim Furyk said that Keegan Bradley won't be a playing vice captain. So
Yeah.
Keegan was kind of stripped of his vice captain duties and will just focus on his player duties. Furyk said that he'll find another vice captain. So now this debate, which I said I would have taken Keegan, um, would you have in this scenario, if you were Keegan Bradley, would you have rather played in this Presidents Cup instead of being a vice captain to get experience, for like the Rocket captaincy next year. So like, what would you rather do? Be a vice captain, get that experience, or play?
So is this what I would do, or what, like, if I was Keegan?
But I mean, I guess the
Because
answer
like
is
if
both. Like,
because if I was Keegan, you like 100% want to play because he's just such like
yeah,
a diehard like match play guy, play for your country. So, and I'd probably do this to him as well. Like, I don't think being a vice captain, like, to him is going to be much different than like just as a player, especially in the locker room as well, because I'm looking at the names. He's definitely the oldest on the team, so like everyone's gonna be like kind of like looking up to him, and he's played in so many of these like presidents and Ryder Cups as well. So I don't really think being a vice captain like has any like it's not like well I personally don't know like we don't but like I'm not sure like how much that's like actually like going to help him as a captain in the Ryder Cup. So I definitely want to play, and being stripped of your vice captain duties allows someone else to like have an experience and like support Furyk over in Canada. So
yeah. It's
that's awesome.
I mean, I think I also don't know if this happened or not. I assume that Furyk was like, "Hey, we're gonna pick you as a captain's pick. You know, do you want to play
Yeah.
or do you want to be the vice captain?" Like, you can't really.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to do both. I know I know Tiger did it. I mean, Tiger's Tiger. I mean, he's like the
Right.
main captain, and he has that. I think he has that presence, you know. So, um, I think the other vice captains are Stuart Sink, Justin
Yeah.
Leonard, Kevin Kisner. So they'll probably find someone that, you know, someone maybe they lean on someone that has been there
Yeah.
already, like a
Maybe
Fred
like
Couples or
Mac.
someone that has like been a.
Yeah. Maybe Mac Kuchar could be also. I feel like.
You really think they're gonna pick Kuchar after the tournament?
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I
yeah,
go
but
on the next day. I'm just joking.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm picking someone that was a couple weeks out that already has experience.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fierce, that older guy with like Couples and Stricker, Davis Love, that whole crew. So I can see one of those guys getting it. I guess just pairings. I
Yeah.
think a couple of them are obvious. I thought the Rock
Right.
Cup pairings were more obvious. We did hit on like the hat theory last year, which
Hat
turned out to be
theory.
right, which is I thought didn't get enough,
Yes.
attention as it probably should have. But also you have Xander, Cantlay, Clark, Scheffler, Theegala, Clark are the six automatic qualifiers. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously I think Xander and Cantlay are your best
Right.
1-2 pairing. I assume Scheffler and Burns will play together. I could see them maybe
Yes.
mix them up depending on how they think.
Maybe.
And
Yeah.
I assume in like four ball, I don't know about, I'm not sure like what the data says. Homa and Harman played well together, but if one struggles, like, what do you do? So you kind of have, if you assume that those six guys are going to be paired together, you have Henley, Finau, Keegan, Clark,
Hagala.
Morikawa, Theegala, those six, who have all different skill sets.
Right.
So it'll be really interesting to see. I can see them putting like a Keegan and Henley together.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think that
both pretty
makes sense.
consistent guys. But I'll have to do a little bit more deep diving. But is there a pairing that you would want to see, like
Um,
regardless of like
like
the
as a
matchup, but like one pairing?
yeah, like as a fan, I feel like a very entertaining pairing to like get the crowd like fired up. I think like Keegan and Clark like they'd be going insane over there. And I think That'd be pretty
Yeah.
fun to watch. But like from like an actual like golf point of view, I think like Thigala and like a really good putter. Like if like Burns and Scheffler got split up, I think like Thigala and like Burns would be like a pretty good 1-2 punch also. But um I
I
know that
mean,
like
well, Morikawa
yeah,
has
that'd be good.
historically been with Bombers. He was
Correct.
with DJ when I was there in 2021. Ryder Cup wasn't sure. 2022, he was paired with Cam Young because they wanted to replicate that. I forget how they did. And then last year, Morikawa was with like
He did play with
he
like
started off. He started off.
Shoffley because I remember they sat Cantlay, and then I think Shoffley played with Morikawa, like for
Well,
one of
Morikawa
them,
played
I
with
think, right?
Fowler the first day and got beat.
Yeah,
Like it was foul. They lost 2-1.
yeah,
Morikawa played with Shoffley. They lost five and
yeah.
three.
So
And
maybe Morikawa and
Morikawa played with
Thigala
Burns.
could
Yeah, but I
play
mean,
together.
here's the thing: is that foursomes is alternate shot, and that's what the pairings really matter more. Four ball is like you're playing like your own ball.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, the pairings don't matter, I guess, as much. I guess it's based on, like, star power or whatever. But I think the foursomes are really the kind of what they're going to do. I saw that Weir did say on the broadcast, which I don't think it's official yet, but he said that they're going to start out with four ball on Thursday, which
Okay.
he said that favors the Team International. Which I guess it does hypothetically because,
I don't really
you
understand
know, you
that. Like,
if
why
you're
would that
historically better
favor
at
them?
because you're not it's like there's multiple balls out there. Like it's I think
I
I guess they're
guess,
historically
yeah.
better at four if like we have like more chemistry and more talent usually probably outweighs an alternate shot. Like
Yeah.
obviously Shoffley and Cantlay are wagons at
Right.
foursomes. So like it favors it. I don't think it doesn't.
Yeah.
It favors them more than it does foursomes, but I think
Yeah.
obviously Team USA is going to be better at both than them on paper.
Right.
But I think you have a better chance of getting that lead because like what I think I forget what the stat is at least for Ryder Cups, but like whoever wins the doping like set usually wins it all, kind of thing. But
Yeah.
President's Cup
I
is different. I can look up what.
guess that does also make sense because in foursomes, you're pretty much only as strong as your weakest link, and international team definitely has like a lot worse depth.
So we
Yeah.
started out 2022 Thursday foursomes. So they started with foursomes last year, and we lost, and Team USA won 4-1. The only team to lose was Scheffler and Burns to Siwoo Kim and Cam Davis. 2019 President's Cup. Let's see. Well, we were home that year, so we probably started with.
Right,
We started with
because
four ball.
that was the one in like
Yeah,
Australia.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So international teams started with four ball. They were up 4-1 on us.
Oh yeah. Because I think like
Tiger,
yeah,
Tiger and JT were the first people out. They won 4-3, and then Cantlay and Shoffley lost. Being out, DeChambeau lost.
yeah,
Reed and Simpson lost. Woodland and Dustin Johnson. So yeah, right there. 2019 in Melbourne, Australia.
yeah.
Thursday four ball.
Sure that.
International was up 4-1. And then in 2022, when it was at Quail Hollow, we were up 4-1 when we started out with four sums. So there's definitely a advantage, and that's what Mike Weir is going to do and start out with that on Thursday, which is really interesting to try to kind of replicate that 4-1 lead that they had in 2019. But yeah, let's end this pod quickly going through the international team. So the automatic qualifiers in no order were Jason Day, Hideki, Tom Kim, Benny On. Who am I missing? There's two more. Adam
Scott
Scott
and Hungja.
and Sung Jae. So that's our
Yeah.
six. As we said, they went with Corey Connors, Taylor Pendrith, Matt Hughes, Siwoo, Kim, Kriston Sanholt, and Minwoo Lee. I thought kind of Connors and Pendrith were both of the Canadian locks. They both made the tour championship when I was there. Hughes, as I said, he makes a ton of putts. He's kind of that boom or bust guy, so I get it. If you're weaker with and you're kind of throwing darts at a dartboard, having a better putter who one is from Canada, along with being a great putter, you have that, I guess, ability to spike in one specific category than if others are just like kind of plain consistent and just are kind of average at everything or just like slightly below average. So I didn't really have a sour taste after. I thought Weir made the right selections, but I think the most the sexy pick was Minwoo Lee. I think he could be one of these breakout guys. He has elevated his game in the majors and the players. The players he contended 2 years ago to Scheffler. Yes. He was in it at the U.S. Open at LACC, and then this year he played well at the U.S. Open. So he's played well in these big time events. I think he is someone that is fearless. He's gonna want the ball versus a Scheffler, a Xander, a Cantlay, Morikawa, those top guys of ours. So I think he's gonna bring that swagger. We saw Tom Kim kind of bring that swagger in 2022. So I think Minwoo Lee, if you had to ask me one breakout guy who, is really important to his team, I think Minwoo Lee is that guy for the international team. I know you kind of said a couple of thoughts on the international already, but any final thoughts?
As we were doing this, I did have a question that I also wanted to ask you to conclude. But for the US to win, they are already large favorites to begin with, but if you had to pick one guy who's the X factor of the team that needs to step up and elevate his game, who would you take? But for me, I think Patrick Cantlay.
X factor on,
because I think it's Cantlay because he's been a little shaky pretty recently, and I just feel in these Ryder Cups, President's Cup, obviously he played super well last season, kind of making that putt to end the Saturday day to give the US a slim chance at it, and he really hasn't been at the top of his game, and I feel we definitely need him to play well because also he's going to be playing with Schauffele, so he kind of can't let Schauffele down in the foursome. So
I'll say not saying Scheffler or Xander, they're by far best players. So
yeah,
the X factor.
Colin also, yeah.
I think the X factor. Well, I think I'm just trying to think. The an X factor. Just because Cantlay and Xander are so good together, and Scheffler and Burns play together. Honestly, I think it's probably Colin. Colin's gonna be the best player. He doesn't really have a natural pairing. He's been so good. He hasn't won yet. He's kind of shown in these kind of big moments, that, he went toe to toe with Scheffler and stuff. So I think on this national stage, where probably other people who aren't golf fans are going to be watching, I think Morikawa really needs to step up, and play well. So I would say that my X factor is probably Kong, because he won't be paired with, I think our top 5 guys are Scheffler, Xander, Cantlay, Morikawa, and Sam Burns right now. I think those are our 5 best players. So I think, for them, there's 2 pairings there, and I think Morikawa's that last guy. But I actually think that if I didn't ask you who has the most pressure to play well on this team, I think it's Keegan Bradley. After the whole Netflix drama stuff last year, people think, it's just they gave him the captaincy for the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
And now he kind of won the BMW. He can really shove in people's faces about these last year and a half, 2 years, that I should have made that Ryder Cup team. I won the BMW. I played well. I thrive in these team matches, and then we're going to win at Bethpage Black. I think he has the most pressure, and I think you can talk about maybe he might be that, he could be that X factor that you were just talking about, because he has all those storylines, and I think the eyes are going to be on him. Over a lot of these other guys. I think he's the guy that, in this press conference, is going to get a ton of questions. Over these guys. So I would say if you ask one guy who had probably the most pressure, I think Keegan Bradley is going to kind of steal these next couple weeks of these storylines.
Yeah. One last point, piggybacking
How about
off.
who's the X factor in the international? You cut in and out. Seagull Wi-Fi. President's Cup team.
So the
international
team.
I think it's. I think it's a very obvious answer.
It's definitely not the captain.
Obviously, Benny on. We sparked him.
But I feel like
Orlando.
I think Tom Kim, he's been shaky, dude. They really need their top guys to just play insanely well to even have a shot. So I'd say Tom Kim, and then going back to what you were talking about on the Americans with the most pressure, I just wanted to make a point about a guy who I don't think we've touched on. I think Wyndham Clark has a lot of pressure from the fans. I feel like the fans have really discredited how well he's been playing, especially in the last couple weeks as well. And I know you were talking about Keegan shoving it in the face of the fans, and I think if Clark plays well, he can do that same thing, because if you go on Twitter, and especially with the Olympics, everyone's why wasn't DeChambeau in this? It's because Clark's been playing so well over the last 2 years, and these President's Cup rankings start 2 years ago. So it's for me, my last point is how Clark has a lot of pressure on him to play well, and he's also a potential X factor as well.
Yeah. I faded Clark through that stretch and made me a decent amount of money, so good to him. But yeah, as to kind of answer my question, I think Tom Kim has to play well. I think he's going to turn the heart and soul, bring some energy to this team. So I think it'll be interesting to see, because he had that moment where, he had a great year. I don't really know how he didn't make the. I guess he was a 51st pick. He was 51st in the standings to get into the BMW, and Keegan was the 50th, and then Keegan went on to win.
Yes.
So, he comes in 8th place at the Olympics, which we all know how much it means to us someone from South Korea to get a medal to avoid military service. So I think he has a chip on his shoulder for himself to kind of carry himself. I think he's going to feel like he's the guy.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to put, and I hope he doesn't put too much pressure on himself, because obviously I want Team USA to win, but if you had to tell me, like, what's one guy that if I want on the international team to play well, it's Tom Kim. And shout out to Paul Tesori too. He's kind of in a weird predicament because he's from America,
Right.
and he's caddying for Tom Kim, and I think that partnership has been great. Hopefully we can get Paul on after the President's Cup, and kind of, maybe get his like reaction to it. He did follow me on Twitter, so hopefully I can reach out to him and get him on. But I think over these next couple of weeks, we have the Fortnite Championship, which is now a different name.
It's
Or
rebranded.
it was like the Fortnite. Yeah, rebranded to what?
I just saw it. It is the Pro Cord Championship in Napa Valley.
Yeah, so Homa's playing in it. He's won that. He's won it twice. Obviously, he's not playing well, so I think he's playing that regardless if he got a captain's pick or not.
Also.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's in Napa, in
Yeah.
California. So, but I think these next couple weeks, we'll do a preview pod the week of to kind of go through pairings and what kind of path to victory, any kind of bets. I did decently well at the Ryder Cup. I took Rory top scorer. I think I took Oliver top European rookie or maybe overall rookie. But I think I think Homa might have won that. Or maybe a tie. I forget. I know I hit Rory at 8.5 to 1. So I think there's very interesting bets. I'm probably gonna lean Henley, but kind of the more we get closer and the more data I dive into it to kind of see who pairs with who. Because I think Burns could be a good pick and kind of the top scorer market, because he's gonna play with Scheffler. And in the top scorer markets, you want to be like, what guy had the chance to play 5 times? And obviously, Cantlay, Xander, Burns, Scheffler are probably the 4 candidates for that. So, yeah, all those fun different bets. So, yeah, we'll deep dive via course, pairings, stats, all that fun nerd stuff. So, yeah, stay tuned for to kind of end this month strong with golf content and prepare for the 2025 season. So,
yep. Thanks for having me.
So, Justin,
man.
Yeah, we'll have you back on for more President's Cup. I think this is kind of our favorite content to do with the team format stuff. But, all right. See ya, man.
Subscribe.